what Mkhwanazi is saying is not the first time. Hence, it will be important that those things are investigated. But the other thing that would have been there are police officers, many of them, that have been arrested before Mkhwanazi made the statement, which then confirms the case that there are police that are corrupt. But there are prosecutors too. You see, especially this province, there are prosecutors that they say they can't give that. If you say enroll the case or you get the warrant of either arrest or what, they say no, I'm not going to put my job on jeopardy. Here, there is an interesting case here where the warrant of the search warrant was given to search one gentleman called J.P. Smith, his premises. But the very same magistrate who gave that, when it was taken to court, he refused to give the evidence that indeed I did. So that is that fear fact that Judge Turan is talking about. So sometimes I get worried that this process concentrates on police when the allegation by Mkhwanazi was across the justice, when the pronunciation by the judge was across justice. But I do find that the concentration here is on police, and let other people go. SC, the biggest crime in South Africa is planned in prisons. There where the real planning takes place, in prisons. I hear less about that. You see, we arrested one guy here called Barra. Well, he was shot and killed in the exchange of the police somewhere in Eastern Cape. Barra was a young man of 30 years, and he was charged with 19 dead bodies. He was 30 years himself, was a teacher by profession here at Kailish. He was charged with 19 dead bodies. Were arrested, taken to Polsmo. He was found in Polsmo with 30 live ammunition, bullets, in prison. I'm sure it did not work with them there. I'm sure it's not other prisoners. It's somebody that brought those things. We were told he was waiting for the gun, which means he was going to use. So that chain, for me, I find it limited here to police. When there is this problem from the very beginning, which is the police, to the very end, which is the correctional service.
Yeah, that's what General Mkhwanazi also, he includes correctional services.
I hope somebody will look at the correctional service. How do they communicate? If you go to any correctional center today and you take cellular at 11 and you go there at 5, you'll find the new ones. We find the new. Who bring them? And those cellular, they don't work there. That here we are, phone. Somebody brings them there. And who is that? You see, we are phoned from prison. This guy phones me. He doesn't tell the name. He says, Phil knows. He called me Ndos. Phoned from somewhere in Escort. There are 3 people that are ready to go and kill Nkosi at Ulundi. They are having 3 AKs. They are in this lodge. He called by name. I phoned Mkhwanazi. I say, Mkhwanazi, there is this thing. This guy refuses to tell you. Mkhwanazi goes there. He finds exactly that. He finds exactly that. 3 AKs, 5 of these guys there, ready to go and kill Nkosi. There was an exchange of fire. Some of those guys died. He finds exactly that. This information comes from prison.
Okay, General, I'm sure you can give other examples, but you seem to confirm General Mkhwanazi's statement in that regard, that the correctional services is also infiltrated. And we know that from the now pretty notorious case of Thabo Bester, where you organize your own escape and you leave a body in your cell. But let's move on from there. Let's talk about the when you were appointed minister in 2018, and then the establishment of the interministerial committee.
Chairperson, there has been a problem in KZN of political violence en masse, but after elections, it was some sort of organized kind of, and then the people were dying, especially at the level of local leadership politically and also the councillors. I've listened to say that it was more of the ANC councillors. No, it's across the board. Quite several of the NFP, ANC, IFP, even EFF, DA, as we speak now, we're dealing with it. Those that are dealing with it, I left when they were dealing with it at Mpofana. The councillor that killed the family stood outside and burned the whole family and said that his house has been burned. And I'm sure that guy didn't know that there's something called forensic. And the forensic discovered that he has done it, he has been sentenced and all that. It's happening. So, President visited the murder scene of Kashana Mkhunu, who was a on the ministers of, I guess, were 4 ministries. That was police, defense, justice, this was together with the correctional service, and state security. So he says the ministers of these ministries, for me, interministerial is made by ministries rather than ministers. That's my understanding. That interministerial is made by ministries. Why so? Because those ministers immediately went to KZN. Was a Minister of Police, Cele, was a Minister of Justice, Masuta, was a Minister of State Security, Duba, the time was a Minister of Defense, Mapisa Ngagula. And then when the elections came, and then there was a Minister of Police, and there was Minister of Justice, who's not Masuta now, but Lamula. There was a minister later, Mdise, and there was initially there was only a deputy minister when it comes to state security, who was Zizu Godwa, and later Ntshabeni came on board. So they continued with the interministerial because these ministries were there. So interministers is ministers that move, but ministries, they stay there, and whoever is there continues. That's how I understand.
So what was the mandate of the interministerial committee?
The mandate was to go to KZN, specifically, sort the political violence, the matters that were taking place there, which were quite bad. Almost every week, a political figure was dying there. So was to go there and sort that thing, investigate, arrest, prevent, and stabilize the province. So when we went there, there was a committee, or there was some sort of a team that was provincially working there, led by General Kiliza, and then there will be Brigadier Makashalala, who is here in Western Cape now. There would be Chiga, who was a head of intelligence in KZN. We sat there as this interministerial. We were given the report. We all agreed, without taking it further, that there is a zero work on this death that is happening here. So we had then according to the interministerial, try to start something better. So different ministers had to work on their departments. I remember that there was a big meeting of officials that was called. I can't remember, but Dr. Kulube was in defense, were there. I think the DG of Justice were there. The DG, National Commission or Provincial Commission of Correctional Service were there. Those officials, they had to go and hash the plan and report to the interministerial. How are they going to do what the interministerial, under instruction of the president, had to do?
So it was a multidisciplinary team that was going to be established.
Indeed,
from different departments.
Exactly so, exactly so. But most prominently would have been the police and prosecutors, because prosecutors had to direct the investigations. But one department that is not mentioned now and again that played a prominent role was correctional service. Why correctional service? Because people arrested, they still gave direction from prisons who to eliminate and all that. The only cutoff was to take people to Kokstad, so which is a prison where you can't communicate with anybody. So the Minister of Correctional Service had to make the way and open that most of people that are arrested under this killing must be taken there. The other thing that was requested there, these cases were delaying, so was if we could get the special courts to deal with them so that they're gone through and then people are arrested and all that. So these departments were really working together, from the ministers to the top officials and down to the real team that was working down there.
General, can I just refresh your memory? Can you go to Annexure BC2, which is on page 11. It's an annexure.
Annexure
BC2 on page 11.
BC2.
You got it?
I'm going to tell you the annexure. Oh, okay.
You see, those are described as speaker notes by the Minister of Police, Bheki Cele, political killings, and it is dated the 3rd of, is that August? 3rd of August, 2018. Do you want to go run through that? Because this would have been immediately or shortly after, no, not immediately, shortly after the establishment of the task team. So you'll see a number of very relevant aspects of the Interministerial Committee dealt with there, to refresh your memory.
Yes, I do see. And as you read down that, the team comprises of 126 members led by acting provincial commissioner, Lieutenant Mkwanazi, and Brigadier Ngwenya and Kumalo. The National Prosecuting Authority has also dedicated 16 experienced, seasoned prosecutors. So from there on, the team kicked in as an interministerial or a multidisciplinary approach. So others would follow, like courts, but this one immediately kicked in.
And at the and subsequent to this, the Mkwanazi and Kumalo, they would report on a 2-yearly or they would report to the Interministerial Committee twice a year on progress or on what they were doing, and you would then hold a press conference, the IMC, and you were, because you're the key person involved as Minister of Police, you would then address the media based on the reports you were getting from the political killing stars team.
Well, there were several of these briefings. People responsible were invited to go down.
If you're there, you can see. I'm referring to. Go to page 16 also of the annexures.
Page 16.
Annexure BC3 starts on page 15, and you can. There's a summary of the media briefings.
Yes.
And your
Yes.
statements on page 16. 21 May 2018, 3 August 2018, that's the one you've just referred to, 13 September 2018, March 2019, June 2021, February 2022, 6 September 2023, and I think your last press briefing was in March. It's not here, but in March 2024, that was the last press briefing.
Well, initially, these briefings were intense because of the work starting, but as the work happens, they become a bit slowly. But the members of the IMC will go and be briefed. Mostly would be briefed by the officials of the departments, having been briefed by the task team. There will be members of the task team, especially the higher echelons like Kumalo, like Gwenya, like Mkwanas, and all that, and those that would have been invited, and the prosecutors and the people from correctional service. I remember that Ngele would be there. So that's how it would happen, and then there will be a media briefing. The media briefing, most of the time, it would not be Cele sitting alone. There would be other members of the task team sitting there and giving update of what has happened with the task team going down, and that last meeting would be the 5th of September 2023. But that was not the last activity. The team itself was invited. The PKTT. I saw some N on it now. I'm not sure about it. So
Minister Nkunu put the N there
Okay.
in front.
I don't know N. So they were. There are two things towards the end, towards the election, that this team was doing. There's a major operation that they do at Kwanongoma, where Mpangazita comes from, where in the municipality, they have arrested the municipality manager, the finance manager, and the supply chain manager. They are all arrested by this team. So I had a lady called Diaz asking.
Before you get to the
Yeah,
lady called
okay,
Diaz,
fine.
Can I please interject you?
Okay.
You referred also to the 5th of September. That's 2023. That's an important meeting, an interministerial committee meeting. Can I refer you to paragraph 47 on page 17 of your statement?
Right. But this is 17. Okay.
Because this is important in the context of of Minister Nkunu's evidence or contention that the PKTT had been dissolved,
Okay.
and that it was, according to him, an illegal, unlawful structure since 2022. So just talk us through some decisions that were taken at that meeting on the 5th of September, and who was in attendance.
Well, I'm sure the whole minutes could be available. So, present in that meeting, I think it was Cele, Lamola, Matale, and Dise and the Premier of KZN apologized. So that was interministerial then. And then I think 4 resolutions, that is on the 5th of September. It was attended, it was Lamola, Matala. But if you go to resolutions,
Yeah.
47.1, the first resolution was that Minister Lamola would engage the NPA on the matter of dedicated courts for political killings, which means there are activities of this committee that are still going on, have not been accomplished. One of them is this court issue. The second one is, the second resolution was the Minister Lamola was to deal with the issue of transfer of prisons to Koksat prison. There was a problem there. They will be transferred, and unknowingly to the team and the investigating officer, somebody will take them back to where they come from and continue with their activities. So the minister had to deal with this, that those that are taken to Koksat, they stay in Koksat. Fourth one was that, third one, resolution was the success of the PKTT would be communicated in the media briefing to be held on behalf of the IMC. The media briefing eventually took place on the 6th, 2023. Obvious. 4, the final resolution was that the PKTT could not dissolve and that it must continue. That is the 5th September 2023 decision taken by the interministerial.
Okay. So, what is your response to Minister Nkunu saying that the PKTT was disestablished?
By who?
Already since 2022.
Disestablished by who?
Well, it's not quite clear what he's saying, who said so. I think we have asked him, I think honourable members of the committee asked him, and that it's an illegal structure.
The President instructs the ministries. The ministers go there. The ministers call their relevant top officials of the department to bring all components together. They come together. The team is formed. The team starts the work, and will agree. Maybe you are not going on details of the success and all that. It continues up to the end of the 5th administration. Comes the 6th administration. It continues, and these interministerials, as these ministers, the new under the ministries, they are there, and it goes for election 2024. This is there. I don't remember anywhere as the chair and those that we're working with talking about dismantling this team at all. What I would also remember is that, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, on the 7th of March 2024, the same team went to brief the president about the activities that they were doing in Fort Hare, since it was requested by the president to look at the matters of, we can come how it came about on that one. So this is now March 2024. We're going for election March, May. So this team is still active. I don't remember anywhere as a person that was almost involved at all in the understanding of activities. I don't remember the team being disbanded until I saw the letter that was written on the 21st December.
The 31st of December.
31st of December, when we were drinking and dancing.
Now, your view is captured at paragraph 49 on page 18.
Paragraph 49.
Yeah, on page 18 of your statement.
Okay. Yes, it is there. That's how.
You
that's how I look at it.
want to read that into the record?
In my view, PKTT was established by the IMC under the leadership of the President, and therefore only the IMC could disestablish it. I have heard in these proceedings the submission that no IMC had been established under the 7th administration. I submit that this argument is incorrect. The IMC consists of ministries that form the multidisciplinary team, not the political incumbents, the ministers, who may change with each administration. The IMC, therefore, continued to exist even under the 7th administration. The Minister of Police, therefore, had to consult with the IMC that had established the PKTT before deciding to disband it. Any disestablishment of PKTT would also have to be done in consultation with the departments that form part of the steering committee of the IMC that had oversight over the PKTT. I can add to say there is also a JCPS cluster. If maybe it's not very clear with the with the existence, JCPS cluster, which Minister of Justice and Minister of Police are co-chairs. It could have been discussed there. Maybe if really it doesn't, it could have been, the clearance could have been sought from the President that there is this, what do I do, does it exist or not? But you cannot just one swallow that makes summer here. Which is a Minister of Police that does not take on board the rest of everybody that is there to talk about this thing. I'm not going to make a conclusion whether it's illegal. I'm not a lawyer, but procedurally, I do not agree with it. The way that it has come through, it should have reversed the same way back. That will be my argument.
We're going to go now to the Minister's Directive of 31 December. But just to round off on whether or not the PKTT is still in existence, you recall having I'm not sure whether you call it a discussion or just out of interest, that you spoke recently with the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, and on her, as it were, job description, the PKTT was still one of the functions allocated to her as Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development.
Well, as your minister, you join, I think your officials will take you through. And it starts with maybe the handover from your predecessor. The time is short. It took me 2 hours with my successor. So there is a lot of things. But then you go to the officials of that department, and then they'll tell you the duties. It does, hearing from Minister Kubai, it still does come through as one of her jobs to be part of the IMC on this one. That would be my latest information.
Yeah. The directive of the 31st of December 2024, you'll find it next to your statement as Annexure BC4 on pages 49 to 50. Have you got it there, General?
Yeah, I have it. Thanks.
When did you first see or hear of or were told about this directive, and what was your reaction, your response?
Chairperson, there is a funny chain here. I don't know how I got in the group of Marshall. I'm in that group.
A WhatsApp group.
It's WhatsApp group.
You be careful of these WhatsApps.
I never write, but most of these things come from that Marshall thing.
Who's all on that group?
Marshall and his husband and her husband,
Yeah.
Morgan. So those are expensive, but there are other ones. I think it's Huela, and then there are people that they correspond with. There is hashtag Minister of Police. There is hashtag Adams. I think is a member of Parliament. There was a hashtag chair of portfolio committee. I don't know if he's still there, but he was also corresponding very closely with Marshall. Yeah. So this Marshall, so you get these things, but because I don't write, I don't say anything and all that. I don't think they are aware that I'm there and reading these things. Some of them are big about me personally. That how criminal I am. So, but I don't ask anybody. I sit and I look like how criminal I am. So keep quiet. But Marshall, you know, we'll come to that letter that was written by Meriti Haas, writing National Commissioner on the 22nd of January, asking him, why have you not implemented the instruction of the minister? This is Diaz writing National Commissioner. And that letter, I think it was 12 hours, that it was also on Marshall. But Marshall is quite big. So I received these things from Marshall. I hope they won't disestablish me now out of...
Not immediately anyway.
Out of, because it provides a good information, what's the thinking about this hashtag minister, him, and they also pray and all this. Sometimes they speak a lot of Sotho, so then I'll have a problem. But when they speak English and all that. So when I saw this letter, I said, but this can't be. This can't be. There are three elements there, which is Ebola issues, no much discussions. One can come on that if it needs be. There is a crime intelligence, which had no discussions much about it. One can come on that, which can be. The real one that has taken the center stage is a PKTT. So when I looked at the letter, I said, but this can't be. The letter opens 3 political task giving. The first word is in 2019, which is wrong. In 2019, that is wrong. A directive was made to the National Commission of Police following Morano Commission. That is wrong. There is no direction made to the national. The direction was made to the interministerial. that then invited other people. And it was not after Morane, it was after the president has made an announcement in Maritzburg. Later he came to Parliament, but earlier has made that standing on a white hippo, saying these ministries must go there. So this Morane can't be correct. Then they say it's flowing from there. The interministerial task force be established, and it's not the force, it's the interministerial committee. The key mandate was correct: stop, investigate, resolve unresolved matters, which is a stabilization of the situation. That one is correct. My observation in this regard, which should not be the individual observation, it should be the observation of the committee, I guess. Is that further existence of this team is no longer required, nor is it adding any value of policing in South Africa. I therefore direct that the political task team be disestablished immediately. Further, that a preliminary report in this regard be submitted to the minister by the 20th. Observing it, if it were me, I would have said, give me the report on the 20th of this task team. And armed with the report, then I would know what decision I'm taking. But to dismantle and want the report, what is the report for now? Because the decision is taken. But it goes on to say, this is 20th of January. The final and closing report must be submitted to the Ministry Management Executive Committee meeting in January 2025, the date of which will be communicated as soon as possible. It does look like there is an issue with this January. Well, the letter is written few hours before January. Yes, it's December, but it's 5. We are just to come to January. The letter is written, and then give report 20th January. I don't know if the letter did come, the report, but 22nd of January, Mary Diaz writes the letter to the National Commissioner, asking him,
Sorry.
Have you done
General,
what...
Sorry, Honourable Chair, can I just point out to honourable members that there is a small... Sorry, there's a little bundle with 2 documents attached. The Mary Diaz letter of 22 January 2025, page 1 to 2, and then there's an article on political killings, political interference, which is written by a Christine, but quotes extensively Professor De Haas. Have you got that, General? That's the letter you're referring to.
Yes, I do have that letter. I do have that letter. National Commissioner Self-Lieutenant General Masimula pre-email good. That is 22nd January 2025. The headline says, your failure to follow ministerial instruction and disband the political killing team is impacting negatively on the crucial policing work in KwaZulu-Natal. So that is a letter which I think paragraph 3 says, according to a report I have just received. I don't know you received this report from who? Mary Diaz. From concerned police or from concerned members, detectives in KZN cannot take exhibits to Pretoria Laboratory because there are no funds to travel, the funds allegedly having been diverted to the political killing team, leaving crucial evidence, e.g. drugs, firearm, DNA, and cell phones in the province contaminated. 4. In other words, If these allegations are true, the Provincial Commission KZN is complicit in ignoring instructions given by the Minister and obstructing regular policing activities in KwaZulu-Natal. Please investigate and report to the Minister and Parliament immediately. Immediately.
So you were saying, you were somehow suggesting that there's a whole confluence, a whole getting together of factors in January 2025, immediately, shortly after the directive of 31 December 2025, which you found quite...
It does look like there was something about January.
Yeah.
I don't know what is it. But my take with all this process, Chairperson, it starts with Mary writing the letter on October. And I found some similarities of the content of the letter, because this immediately is also there in that letter.
That letter is on pages 51 through to 58.
That is October. So then there is a discussion of a certain stain on his written opinion piece, if it is opinion piece. Very excited to say the minister or the professor has instructed the national commissioner to disband. And 31st January happens, 21st December happens. And January, Mary, who wrote in October, comes back now, not to the minister now, to the national commissioner. The report must come on the 20th. Mary is very close to understanding whether the report has come on the 20th. But 22nd, we are bad. She's asking if that has been done. So it's my take, my genesis of my problem with this is Mary having played quite a big role. I must admit, the Kwana's allegation at the later stage of cartels and all that, I don't understand that much until I hear from Kwana's and what is happening. But my take is that I've seen Mary driving this process of disestablishment of this. I don't know what is her interest. Maybe it does link with the later one. I don't know. So people can check. But also, I find that January has something to do with the disestablishment. That's my take on this process, essay.
Yeah, but we also see that in a subsequent letter, in fact, we also, I think I've flagged it. Excuse me, yes, Chair. It's the same. If you go to page 60, go to BC 7, General. Which is on page 65.
Page 65.
To 70.
Right, yes.
Yeah. Where she makes, if you go to the bottom, well, the the document which appeared in the KZN Monitor, it starts off with reference to the 31 December 2024 Minister Mkunu's directive. And then she says, a few lines in, it seems though that the ministerial instructions are not being followed, as certain apparently specifically selected members have not been redeployed to the units from which they were seconded, and that at least one new case has been opened by one of these members. Information has been forwarded to the Minister's office. So it seems as if she's privy to information that's been forwarded to the Minister's office. Then
Yes, well,
in the last paragraph, she said there was no good reason for establishing this team in the first place. You see that? And then on page 66, the second paragraph, contrary to constitutional principles of transparency and accountability in government, questions about the structure and command of the team have never been answered. Would you agree with that statement?
Which one is that, Jesse?
So,
Which
General,
statement is that?
at page 66, the second paragraph, the first few lines, where she says that questions about the structure and command of the team have never been answered.
Yes, I do.
And then
see
she refers to you. She says, when soon after it started operating, questions were posed to team members about who was in charge. The response was that it was then Minister Cele. When the Police Portfolio Committee was asked about it, the late Jumat Peterson claimed not to know about what was happening. However, she agreed that the minister should not be operational. Despite ongoing complaints, no interventions to remedy matters followed. When the team was initially established, a detective was in charge, but even at that stage, members were coming and going. When the detective retired, then Brigadier Khumalo was put in charge by Cele.
Well, I met Khumalo when the team was established.
2018.
2018, I didn't know him before that. He's one. He was a brigadier. Very few, I think Mkwanas was a brigadier, and among the brigadiers, I would know him and maybe those that were in communication. But brigadiers are quite far to know them all. So Khumalo, I didn't know him. That's the first one. The second one, SC. Ministers of police are just unlucky. They appoint nobody. They appoint nobody. Even the national commissioners, they don't appoint them. The president does. And then the commissioners appoint the structure as per the constitution of command and control. So there is no minister. If I have any...
we discussed this, but in terms of the Police Act, the minister appoints the head of the Hawks.
Yeah, that's the only person,
But
according
no
to the
other
law.
appointments
is
you
the
say
only
are
person
made by
that
the
you
minister.
appoint, yes. So that the Hawks. But when it comes to the South African Police Service and all that, that is... so Cele could not then have been appointed Khumalo. Even if Cele wanted to appoint Khumalo, had to explain to the rest of the ministers that were part of the interministerial, what is this? So the issue of Khumalo, knowing him, whether it's investigator, whether it's in crime situation or crime intelligence, really I wouldn't know. this is a researcher talking. So she can't just research that ministers don't appoint an accomplished researcher. She can't research that and know that ministers don't appoint when it comes to police. So